Hey.
Hey.
You might hear some tapping. There's
Yeah.
a little bit of rain. It started raining while we were in there.
God damn it.
Oh, you might have to take the reins a little bit on this one. I am so tired
But
right
this
now.
is a fascinating early look into the life of Lady Bird Johnson, our first lady.
I love it so much that there is a movie called Lady,
Lady
Bird
Bird.
and a movie called LBJ that are in theaters right now. Both of them, I haven't seen LBJ, but most of them most likely do feature war.
Separate wars.
Nam, and this takes place in the early 2000s. I am really really tired, but a couple days ago we were coming back on a long train ride, and I didn't sleep much the last couple of days. But so I actually really loved this movie, but I am very very tired.
He's like, it could just be that I'm tired. I don't know.
It could be a terrible movie. I'm just exhausted. For all those people that were like, you just didn't like Man of Steel because you were tired.
Oh, God.
I guess it works both ways.
You only like this because you were tired.
Sure.
No, it's not a terrible movie. No, by any stretch of the imagination.
Man, the early 2000s sucked.
No, Dave Matthews Band ruled.
Well, that's
No,
true. Granted, I don't remember a lot about the early 2000s because I was still on drugs back then. The early mid 2000s are Swiss cheese for me, and what I do remember was not good. That's why I was on drugs and drank. This movie takes.
I mean, it's during right after 9/11.
Yeah.
Starts in 2002 and then ends up in 2003 with the early Bush years and the war in Iraq beginning. And
What do you mean, man? I don't remember 9/11. I just know that from that movie Remember Me with Robert Pattinson. That ending really confused me. I'm kidding. No, this movie takes place in the early 2000s. Sarah and I got the trailer for this movie in front of probably one of the indie movies that Sarah and I went to go see. Maybe Tulip Fever. I don't know. But I remember the two of us not really being sold that much on the trailer for this. Not that it looked bad necessarily, but when I saw the trailer for it, I thought, like, okay, it looks like one of these movies. It looks like that Edge of 17 that we saw last year. I was like, it looks like it's hitting the notes that a coming-of-age movie about a young girl like this usually hit. But having seen the movie and having just gotten out of the movie, this is an outstanding fucking movie. And I did like Edge of 17 a lot. We both both went to go see that.
Yeah, I really liked Edge of 17 too.
They're both different. Very different. One Edge of 17 is a fun movie about someone who at the end of the day is kind of a terror, but has Woody Harrelson there to ground her every now and then. This is a real film. You can find, even though you and I are not teenage girls, you can find something in there that you can relate to just from the high school. Just from the fact that we weren't in high school in the early 2000s like this, but we were around the late 90s or the early 2000s.
Yeah, it was So it was just after we were out of high school. So it was our early college years, early mid college years on that. But you watch this movie and you see the different scenarios and you're like, yep, that's high school. That's the awkwardness, the capturing the ideals about sex, about first love. It's so just poignant and just on the mark
because it feels like it's written from experience. It feels like it's really raw. Like the dialogue in this movie is very realistic and very and great and natural. And I love the relationship here between her and Laurie Metcalf, the mother, and I love how it's written. I love how in a single scene the two characters could be joking or having a relatively light conversation with each other, and then an argument can happen quick, but naturally quick. It's not like a sudden whiplash tonal shift in the scene. No, it feels
flows
authentic.
Into it. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it absolutely flows into it.
And the vice versa too.
No, yeah.
Like if they're fighting and then all of a sudden they stop fighting and then it's like, okay, you want to do this? Yeah, sure, you know.
God, Laurie Metcalf is good in this movie.
I think they're all good.
Oh, they're great. How do you pronounce the lead actress's name? I can.
Cersei.
Is that it?
Cersei, but there's
Cersei, Roman J. Israel. Is that it?
I mean, she has been a force ever since she's come onto the scene, and she gets stronger.
I feel bad that the first movie that I know of that I saw her in was The Host.
Oh my god.
The Stephenie Meyer thing.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was it might have been. I don't know.
Well, because I watched Hannah.
Okay, and I didn't see Hannah before I saw The Host.
Yeah, I saw Hannah when it came out, so even then, I mean, she's very captivating.
Yeah.
And I mean, even like with Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, she keeps knocking things out of the park.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, this is a role that's, I mean, it's not hard for her to get into, I'm sure, but the nuances of the teenaged angst going from, you know, almost, teenagers are almost manic. They really are. It's like those fucking hormones are going, and you get 1 minute you're good, the next minute you're yelling at your parents, the next minute you're telling them you love them, so sorry. And she really nails it. And what you were talking about it coming from experience, I believe Greta Gerwig, who directed and wrote it, has said this is coming from a semi-autobiographical...
You can tell, because the character is likable. Like, yeah, she's doing some dumb shit teenager stuff, but of course, it's a coming-of-age movie. This movie is so well written in the sense that she's not unlikable. She feels like a kid. Yeah. She's doing teen stuff that a lot of people can relate to and think back and be like, oh yeah, there was some stupid shit that I did back then. Like, you know, it hits on things like you said, first loves, horribly losing your virginity, like, you know, like which is never a good experience, no matter a good a good experience. Losing your virginity is still terrible. So there's that, and there's, you know, she's into the douchebag early 2000s art band kid that were like cockroaches back then.
Oh, Jesus. The government's tracking us through our cell phone, conspiracy theorists.
I don't believe in money.
That was... It's like, but don't you go to a private school? Yeah, I'm just doing it to make my dad happy.
Yeah, it's to make my dad happy. He's got cancer or whatever.
Hey, even that, he made the cancer about himself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's how fucking just...
I only do rolled cigarettes.
Yeah, that clove shit is just, it's got fiberglass in it.
Man, just hang out on diaryx.com and die.
Like one of those kids where you look back and now you just want to smack them.
Oh.
Just like, you fucking asshole. You pretentious douchebag. Just stop.
But again, that took me back to that time. Not that I was one of the... Dear God, was I not one of those kids, but I knew several fucking people who were.
Yeah, the ones that are just trying so hard to be aloof and cool and just...
They would recommend to me the worst movies. I'd go to school the next day and be like, Fuck you for telling me to watch the Doom Generation, you son of a bitch. I'm never talking to you again.
Yeah, that was the movie fucking number 1. And kids and shit like that. Fucking kids. God damn it.
But yeah, no, and also it touches upon this, like, whenever she's kind of interested in this dude who's in a band, she starts hanging out with the more popular kids at school and does things she maybe wouldn't have normally done before, like prank-wise, or going out late, drinking, doing things like that. And it's got a good arc in there where she kind of falls out with her best friend in the movie over this because she's starting to hang out with some more popular kids. And to describe it, yeah, you've seen this kind of plot in a coming-of-age movie before, true, where two friends are together, one begins hanging out with popular kids, and then the other one is kind of pushed to the side. Yeah, there's things in this movie that, you know, you see in a coming-of-age movie about somebody, you know, in high school and everything. But again, the strength of this movie is that it doesn't feel like it's something that we saw before in Edge of 17 or something like that. It feels, again, completely authentic, and it's a good looking film. It's tremendously acted. It's funny. It shows it. What this movie does with its characters is very human. They all have these flaws, and under a lesser screenwriter and a lesser director, a character like Laurie Metcalf's character may come across as just like a monster of a mom.
Right.
Or Lady Bird would come across as just kind of a brat.
Right.
But no, that's not how this movie plays out. That's not how this movie feels. You're just watching these characters' lives on screen, and a couple of things it deals with really well. One of those being depression with her dad, who's played by Tracy Letts, who's a great fucking actor. And it's which you don't see this in movies very often. It's a love letter to Sacramento, California.
Yeah, it is.
It really is. I can't remember the last movie I saw that takes place there. But that was refreshing. I was like, you don't see that very much. You don't see Sacramento get some love in movies very much. Yeah. So yeah, that was cool. I really liked that.
I mean, it's just it's little nuances.
Yeah.
Like what you're saying, like, these characters aren't black and white because nobody's black and white. Like, if you're comparing it to Edge of 17, it seemed like with Edge of 17, she was very strong, very strong-willed. She had her own thing. She kind of always did. She knew what she was, and she didn't try to pretend, really, to be something else.
No, she was upfront about being kind of a neurotic mess.
Right. Where in Lady Bird, she is desperately trying to find where she stands in life, where she fits in.
What school she wants to go to. Does she want to go all the way across the country, or does she... Because she seems to know a lot and appreciate a lot about Sacramento. And if she wants to follow the art, if her parents are having money issues. They don't live in the rich part of town, so there's that rich kid, poor kid mentality, wrong side of the tracks type of thing. They make a joke. They make a joke about that, and it's funny because the first guy she dates actually goes, he's like, she was saying something about the wrong side of the tracks, and I actually crossed over train tracks. And he watched Laurie Metcalf's just horrified face, like, oh my God, I can't believe she actually said that. It's like that everywhere. It's also like that in Springfield. You go across the train tracks right before you get to 11th Street. Yeah, good luck, man. Like, at least stick to the main roads if you can, Cook or South Grand, and even then... All right.
I mean, that's a dichotomy of America. I mean, you can go to any town, anywhere, and you could find a similar situation. Mm-hmm. You know, because that's the way it is. You know, when people get money and they get rich, they leave that. They don't want to be associated with that, so they go away from it and leave that behind. And so the people who don't have the money, they pick up the leftovers and just find a way to eke out a living.
The people who live, down over there, off, east of 11th, or maybe over in Evergreen Terrace or something.
Yeah.
We have one of those. They say they live over in Panther Creek. There are a few similarities to The Simpsons here. We do have an Evergreen Terrace, but no one goes there because it's fucking terrible.
It's certainly not where The Simpsons would live.
They did like a Simpsons tour in Springfield here several years ago, where they were going to a few places I think that were like kind of similar to the show, except for Evergreen Terrace, which they stayed far the fuck away from.
Yeah, I was over there one day. I was looking out the window of one of the apartments over there, and I saw a guy running, and all of a sudden, a few seconds later, you see another guy with a giant-ass butcher knife running in circles, chasing him around this apartment complex. I'm just like...
That's a good day.
That's unusual, but okay. I'm like, I'm not going to go outside for a while.
That's Tuesday over there.
It kind of is. It's bad.
Yeah. I mean, comparing something like this to... Edge of 17 is basically like comparing it to Pretty in Pink, just because it involves prom and the other side of the tracks. Although this movie did lack James Spader, but on the plus side, it lacked Ducky.
Poor John Cryer. This movie is just everything is well done about this. And bravo to Greta Gerwig for getting her voice out there, because she has a fantastic story to tell, and she does it well. She also has a great eye for directing.
Definitely in directing actors.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things. It's like a lot of people haven't really heard a lot from Greta Gerwig. Unless you've watched like Frances Ha, or she was in the Ben Stiller movie where he's having the manic breakdown.
Greenberg?
Yes, Greenberg.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was a really good movie.
Yeah, and she was good in that too. So she's a very talented she's just talent. And it's unfortunate that she hasn't had an ability to shine more, but she's going to get her chance after this.
This movie's going to be recognized come awards season.
Oh, very easily.
And I look forward to any movie that comes to Springfield that has that, that's put out by A24 or A24, however they go.
Yeah.
However they go with that. Like, I don't know if you've seen Good Time with Robert Pattinson, one that came out a few months ago or something like that. Man, that was a great fucking movie. Why? It was only out in Springfield for like a week, and I think I'm the only one who went to go see it. Yeah, once that comes out on video or something like that, or Netflix, pop that shit up, man. Like, I wish that was out in theaters for a longer time. This is getting really good buzz. It came to Springfield while we're kind of playing catch up, which is usually what we do this time of year with the holidays.
Right.
So it's actually been out for a few days. I've just been in Virginia. Like, I still gotta try. I still gotta try to see Wonder and Roman J. Israel. I'm definitely seeing 3 Billboards. That comes out.
Oh yeah. That looks good.
Yeah, that does come out this weekend. Dave and I are seeing that on Friday, I believe.
This movie, not as far as tone or subject matter, but I get a very Spotlight vibe out of it. Like, after watching Spotlight, I was like, that's your best picture.
Oh, yeah.
Unless something else stronger comes along... I could very easily see this. Oh, fucking stupid shit.
That was The Greatest Showman. They cut off her power.
I can very easily see this running away with Best Picture.
I could too, because we're living in a time right now where little indie movies like this stand a bigger chance.
I mean, Moonlight last year.
Yeah, Moonlight last year.
Which, all props to La La Land. La La Land was a great film, but Moonlight earned that Oscar. And it's a shame that the fiasco had to happen.
That was crazy, man. I mean, I liked La La Land better, but it wasn't between a great movie and a bad movie.
Right. It's two great movies going up against each other, and I think the subject matter of one basically was deeper, and I think that for some strange reason the Academy was like, okay, so, wait, La La Land wrote a love letter to Hollywood. Well, okay, we like that, but we're actually going to vote with our conscience this year and actually give it to a deeper film.
You're seeing that a lot more now.
Yeah.
You really are. And not that not that every single time it's necessarily my pick, but it's definitely something that
you can't be mad about it. You can't sit there and go, oh my god, I can't believe. It used to be you'd see that where you do like, really, I can't believe that one.
Crash.
Yeah. But you're starting to, I think you're starting to also see a turnover in the demographic of Academy voters.
Yeah, you are.
And I think you're starting to see that change in the movies that get nominated and also the movies that win.
It makes it more unpredictable than like,
it's fun though.
It makes it unpredictable, like when you're watching the awards every year. It's like, well, this person has heavy odds to win, but it's like I still don't feel confident in this being my guess.
As far as, and then coming back to Lady Bird, I can see like a nom for Best Picture, Best Actress, Best Supporting
Actress,
Screenplay. Easily, these are all going to get noms.
Mm-hmm.
I could very easily see it winning Best Picture, Screenplay. I don't know about Director, although I think she should get a nod for that. I think her, those directorial debuts, they tend to not. That's the one thing they still don't.
Yeah, you're saying all this, but that's because you haven't seen Valerian yet.
Oh my god.
I don't even know why I went to that movie off the top of my head.
Because you review movies. That's why. That's the only reason.
That movie's not even gonna make my worst list.
Oh, poor Valerian. Like
it's not very good, but it's not gonna be.
It's just kind of one of those just float movies in the end.
Yeah.
It's in limbo. Just well, it wasn't great. It wasn't terrible. It was just one of those meh.
It wasn't good enough to be memorable, and it wasn't bad enough to be memorable. It wasn't a great or even good, really, space action film, but it also wasn't Jupiter Ascending, which, the thing about that is that by that logic, Jupiter Ascending's far more memorable. No, I highly recommend this. Go see it. We got it here in Springfield. I know it's going out to some more theaters that are out there. If it's playing here in Springfield, usually that means it's probably not that hard of a movie to find, unless you live somewhere tiny. But like,
well, yeah. If you got a one screen theater, it's probably not going to be showing.
Well, in that case, The Star is probably still playing.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Or Let There Be Light.
Literally, Jesus Christ. Oh, man.
Man, when Laura and I were on the train, it was on the way to Virginia, and whenever you're sitting in the dining car on the train, they sit you with other people at a booth to get just as many people in there as possible so they can fit them all, especially on a crowded train. And we were sitting across from this older couple, super nice, But they asked what I do for a living, which is always great to explain to somebody who's like 80. They're like, so you see new movies then? I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, yeah, like, do you go out to the theater very much? And the old guy's like, well, did you go see the Sean Hannity movie? I was like, yes,
good God.
I did. I was at that. I basically, what I said is like, I was like, because I'm not an asshole. Like, I was just like, it wasn't for me.
Right. That's kind of how we were when we went to go see the Kirk Cameron
Revive Us when the movie made the audience mingle with each other.
Yeah, and we ended up talking to that nice couple.
They were super nice. Yeah.
There's certain things, at least like with that, it's like, okay, that's fine. That's your audience.
Mm-hmm.
Good for you. Yeah, we're not gonna. Yeah, it's not us. So
there is a very, very funny abortion sequence in this movie. The religious movies got me thinking about the movie Voiceless, and then, oh yeah, there was a funny abortion joke in this. A really funny scene where the coach has to take over the directing the school play and directs it like a football game.
Right. You get to come in right through here. Then you're coming real hot. Like, and this is singing. These wide lines, they're singing. And he's drawing up plays for the play.
Yeah. Any final thoughts about the movie?
I really dug it. It's just everything about it to me was real.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't over the top. I mean, I could see these people living real life. I'm like, they're not caricatures. They are real, fully developed, fleshed out characters, and the story that they're allowed to tell is fantastic. Yeah, I definitely recommend this movie.
Yeah, me too. I loved it. I loved this film. I loved both movies I went to go see tonight. They were fantastic. So, all right. I don't know if I'll be at anything tomorrow, but Dave and I are going to be at 3 Billboards on Friday. So, thanks a bunch, everyone in the chat, for watching, especially this late.
Yeah, right.
See ya.
See ya.